Hi, this is Elizabeth, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Liz Colburn, host of The Morning Uplift here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back and check out my show, The Morning Uplift, where we talk about finding your beauty in the journey. A new show comes out twice a month on the first and third Mondays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of The Morning Uplift. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello everyone, it is No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and I'm actually wearing clothes today, but I put on a robe because that's how I roll. I'm also, we're shaking it up a little. I'm also having sparkling water, but from Fresh Brothers, that's where we had dinner. Because that's also how we roll. David Baki, hello. Does it sound okay? I switched headphones. How does it sound? How do you feel about it? Are we loving it? I'm going to take a minute and share the broadcast. That way all of our friends can join in, because it's announcement week. It is announcement week. Sounding good. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Fantastic. And I have a face on today because I had a meeting with the showrunner. So I had to not look faceless as usual. So I posted a bunch. Some weeks I post, like I pre-post for this show, and then other weeks I don't. Some weeks the show just kind of comes and goes, and then other weeks I'm like, this is the one to watch. We all need to, you all need to know. So, whatever. This is one of those weeks where I changed the header of my Twitter to be the hush self. Oh, Elizabeth's here. Thanks for coming in. Oh, well, I guess I won't share it then. Whatever. Who cares? Anyway, I changed the header of my Twitter to be some graphics for the show, and I think it came out cute. So if you're on Twitter, if you're a Twitter person, come find me. But fair warning, my Twitter is filthy. Like, No Filter Friday, there's no filter, other than I'm not supposed to swear on this network, so I really have to hold it in. But on my Twitter, on the other hand, is filthy. So if you're going to follow me on Twitter, at Rachel A. Mullins, know that it's going to be a little bit dirty. My Twitter's definitely not Public House Media approved, for sure. So last week, my episode got cut a little bit short because we got rained out, unfortunately, but whatever. There's nothing I can do about that. We get 13 inches of rain in Los Angeles every year, and last week it rained about 4 of those inches on my show. So it got cut, the live portion got cut a little bit short, but the podcast version on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio, Spotify, all those places is a full episode. So if you saw only the little tidbit of the live show last week, you can get the full podcast version. That's not the special announcement, but announcement worth being made nonetheless. So with that being said, last week me and Aussie talked about how to avoid like unsafe or fake castings, like castings that aren't even real, they're just predators. And last week the story broke that there was like more developments in Harvey Weinstein's case in the way that like apparently they dropped, his full list of accusers is 87 people. However, there are 3 accusers that are within statute of limitations that are going after him in New York, and those are the ones that he's, on house arrest for. He's out on a $1 million bail. Those are the ones that he's currently in court with right now. Like his ongoing situation why he can't leave his house. His estate in Connecticut, he's not allowed to leave. So, with that being said, one of those ladies, I believe her name is Lucia Evans. I'm not totally, that's her name. Her name is Lucia Evans. I'm just not sure if I'm saying her first name right or not. So, Miss Evans, the prosecutor decided to drop a piece. I think it's like the aggravated sexual assault. They dropped the aggravated part. They're keeping other parts of her allegations, accusations, however you want to say it. They're keeping other pieces of it, but they've decided to drop the aggravated part. And that part of the story came out last week, but I wanted to let it ride because Weinstein is basically like this never-ending saga. I think if you look at, if you go on iTunes or something and look at the episode history of my show, it's like one person, Harvey, one person, Harvey, one person, Harvey, more Harvey later, Harvey there. It's like Harvey for breakfast, lunch, and dinner around here. Like, it's too much. So I wanted to let that ride and breathe a little bit on that story and then pick it up this week because even more has happened. That's the great thing about this show is that I literally, other than fighting with my internet, making sure my dogs don't chew up my headphones and they're actually usable so it sounds nice. That's basically the only thing I have to do for this show because it writes itself. It writes itself. All I have to do is be like, hey, internet, me too. And they're like, oh, girl, let me tell you. And it's great. I mean, what a time to be alive, Okay, so the Manhattan District Attorney has decided to drop part of the criminal case against Harvey Weinstein. The development was announced in court on Thursday, not yesterday, Thursday before. The thrown out charge involves allegation made by one of the 3 accusers in the case, Lucia Evans, I told you that. Okay, so Evans has accused Weinstein of forcing her to perform oral sex when they met alone in his office in 2004 to discuss her fledgling acting career. At the time, Lucia was a 21-year-old college student. All right, so now, the moral of this story is regardless of what's going on with her, what did or didn't or whatever, it's kind of irrelevant at this point because they're all fighting amongst themselves. The prosecutors, Weinstein's attorneys, the attorneys that are representing the ladies accusing him, the New York Police Department, they're all fighting amongst themselves on what's going on because apparently when this woman was supposed to turn in her phone as evidence, one of the New York Police Department police officers, the regular police officer, was like, hey, before you turn this phone in, make sure you don't have anything on it that you don't want people to see. Which it seems like that would go without saying, hey, if your bank information's on there, maybe delete your Chase app. Hey, if you're anything that's you don't need 50 people plus having access to, get that off your phone before you turn it over because they're going to go through the whole thing and that could be not cool. I took it because I don't keep anything on my phone. I took it as hey, make sure all of your social security numbers or EINs or whatever it is that you have going, your PayPal's not signed in, stuff like that. So nobody's, because you don't know how far the chain of command goes from you handing your phone in as evidence to this police officer to the judge. That could be a really, really long way. It's not like going to court normally and you hand your phone to the bailiff right there and they show it to the judge and then you then they hand it back to you. Like, it's a lot more involved than that. And you don't know how many people are between that police officer and the judge. It could be a whole army. You have no idea. So I took it as, hey, delete your banking. If you got a mortgage, like, take all that off, take all that stuff off of your, all your personal accounts and stuff like that. Take that off your phone. But nowadays, everybody's like sexting and keeping dirty pictures of themselves on their phone. All my dirty pictures are on the internet. So Isaac Duncan said, well, I think it's also more grounded than that. Get rid of the nudes. That simple. That's true. But even still, though, like, like, you can submit nudes as evidence of, like, where you were. Like, you just need to redact. Well, I mean, you don't have to redact anything. It would just behoove you to do so. But yeah, everybody in their nudes. Like, I don't keep nudes on my phone. All my nudes are on the internet. Like, that's, in my opinion, that's where nude photos go, is on the internet, so people can Google them the old-fashioned way. I'm not texting anything to anybody. You're gonna have to do what everybody else does and Google me. I'm not sending you any. You don't get your own picture. If it's not in Playboy or Maxim or wherever, like, you're not getting it, period. But that's just me. I'm old school like that. I feel like your nude should be published for the world to see, not just on your phone. But even still, though, like, although Harvey Weinstein in his specific situation, like, he has a real knack for trying to discredit people for, well, that person was a hoe anyway. It's like, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Completely irrelevant. Objection. Relevance. So apparently this police officer is in full-on trouble now, because Weinstein's attorneys and the prosecutor are saying that because he said that to her, that he has tainted the entire case, the entire investigation. Apparently his police officers, it's not a union, but it's like their oversight, I guess you could say, is they're on the police officer side of, like, hey, like, people keep, who is my phone? I swear I can't do anything. I'm telling you, I think my phone has a ringer on sometimes because I never let my phone make noise, and then I look over and it's making noise for some reason. So anyway, apparently this police officer's, like, regulatory body is on his side, which is good. But now Braffman, Weinstein's attorney, and the prosecutors are like, this whole thing is tainted because that police officer said that. Now we have to go back. And then Weinstein's attorney is like, we have to dismiss all of her allegations. She needs to be, all of her allegations need to be dismissed with prejudice, blah, 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 blah. And then the prosecutor's like, well, it's not that huge of a deal. Like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have said that to her, but it's not, none of that thing would be relevant. Yeah. Isaac Duncan says he Googled me and found no nudes in Google Images. Well, you weren't looking hard enough, sir. Nothing to worry about. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried that some of my stuff, I'm worried that somebody else is knocking me out of my search rankings for my names. Now I'm worried about that. That's what I'm worried about. But thank you for looking. That's very sweet of you. You're a real team player, Isaac Duncan, and I admire that about you. So hang on, let's go down a little bit here. Okay, Weinstein's lawyer, Benjamin Braffman, told the judge he believed Evans had lied to the grand jury. He also said he believed a police detective had corruptly attempted to influence the case by keeping a witness from testifying about her misstatements. The integrity of these proceedings has been compromised, he says. Doesn't that sound like intense? The integrity of these proceedings. I don't think there's any integrity anywhere in these proceedings to be compromised one way or the other, but that's just little old me in my opinion. I think it's all a mess up one side and down the other. Like, the whole thing is just an absolute mess. I don't think there's any integrity that's to be worried about. Weinstein's lawyers and prosecutors have been wrangling over the part of indictment pertaining to Evans' allegations over the last few weeks in closed-door meetings and sealed court papers. Some media outlets reported that there were problems with the witness interviews done by one of the lead police detectives handling the investigation. Others said the prosecutors had discovered old personal writings by Evans in which she suggested her encounter with Weinstein was consensual. In a statement, a lawyer for Evans said she was disappointed by the DA's decision to abandon her. Okay, so Lucia Evans still has, because all of these ladies, all three of them still have like multiple, are accusing him of like multiple crimes. So one of the crimes that one lady has accused him of has been dismissed, and that's the aggravated sexual assault thing, but everything else is still going. So when the DA decided to throw out, the district attorney decided to throw out that piece of it, her attorney kind of went on the nut and said, let me be clear. Why does everybody say that? I can't stand, like, I'm so over hearing, let me be clear. If you weren't clear before, that was your own fault. The decision to throw away my client's sexual assault charges says nothing about Weinstein's guilt or innocence, nor does it reflect on Lucia's consistent allegation that she was sexually assaulted with force by Harvey Weinstein, said attorney Carrie Goldberg. It only speaks volumes about the Manhattan DA's office and its mishandling of my client's case. Again, now they're all fighting against each other. I don't know how they're supposed to like ever wrap up any of this. Hang on, somebody else commented. Isaac Duncan said, I spelled your name wrong. I found them. Good game. You go, Isaac Duncan. You go. Thanks for playing the game. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Weinstein is still denying that he's never done anything wrong to anybody ever, even though he has 87 people accusing him. And I'm sure it's worse than that. That's just 87 people who said something. I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg. I don't think I've ever been to a function in Hollywood where somebody wasn't like, Harvey Weinstein did X, Y, and Z. Like, there's more than 87, but that's the official count for now. He's pleaded not guilty. It says he's free on $1 million bail, and he's not free. He had to turn in his passport, and he's on house arrest. He can't leave his Connecticut home, which probably really sucks now that the weather's turning. Enough phone, enough. Okay, so this is where it gets full circle. The Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance has been fiercely criticized for declining to prosecute Weinstein when an Italian model accused him of grabbing her breasts in 2015. At the time, Vance cited a lack of supporting evidence despite the existence of a clandestinely made... Is clandestinely even a word? I need to look that up. Made recording of Weinstein discussing the episode with the woman. In the months after the New York Times and the New Yorker began publishing stories about Weinstein's interactions with women, activists pressured Vance to bring charges as dozens of people came forward with claims of sexual misconduct against him. New York police officials poured on the pressure too, saying publicly that they believe they had gathered ample evidence to make an arrest. The Associated Press does not identify alleged victims of sexual assault unless they come forward publicly, as Evans has done. Okay, so that's another weird thing, is that I guess it's not weird, like, it's really, really, really hard to get police to do anything about anything ever, especially as it pertains to, like, crimes of, like, the sexual nature. Like, Law and Order SVU really paints this picture of, like, was there a crime? Let's solve it. Let's get to the bottom of this. Like, most of the time, like, if you've ever given a police report in your life, like, heaven forbid you ever have to, but if you've ever given a police report in your life, you'll know the police will be like, okay, what's the problem? Why didn't you do this? Or, you know, they're like Ginsu. They say they're like Ginsu knives, like they just want facts, not feelings, which, you know, makes sense. Like there's a lot of like how you feel about something and what actually happened, you know, can be two different things, or they can be the same thing. It just depends on the situation. But there's always this like major hurdle of even getting a police report, and then getting a DA to do anything about said police report is extremely hard to do. It doesn't surprise me at all that this Italian model was like, this guy just grabbed my tits and that's sexual assault, but they didn't do anything. However, I don't know anybody who's been like groped, especially, it sounds like that was a public incident, groped publicly and then have a recording about it and still nobody did anything. But hers, you know, Harvey Weinstein's is a big dude. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that probably don't really want to get in his way, although those things are changing for sure. But I think in 2015, he was definitely not going to get in any trouble for it. And it just empowers them to do more. Like, I've said this on the show a million times, and I'll probably keep saying it a million times. Every single person who is a survivor of sex crime or gender-based violence that I've ever interviewed, which is a lot, I think I've interviewed well over 30 people, probably closer to 40. The person that did what they did to them, they were never their only victim. Either they had victims prior to them or they had victims after them. But when people get away with stuff, it empowers them and emboldens them to keep doing it, because they're like, nothing's going to happen to me. Like, I can just keep doing what I'm doing. Like, there's no fear of anything, which sucks. That's what gets, you know, people are like, if I want to grab that chick wherever I want to grab her, then I can. Or I can sexually assault that person, or I can rape that person. What are they going to do? What are they going to say? Absolutely nothing. Nothing's going to happen to me. I might as well just get my jollies, you know, regardless. So it's kind of like a one hand washes the other kind of a situation. Like, it just ramps them up, and it just keeps them going on this horrible path. So we will see how these other, there's two other ladies that are like in this giant hot mess of a case going with Harvey Weinstein in New York. I think he has some other things going in Pennsylvania too. I don't know. And I'm sure once he's done with that, there's going to be some ladies in California that that want a piece of him too. So it's a never-ending saga. Like, I want to cover Harvey, and then I also kind of get, not that I'm getting tired of covering Harvey, but it's like a soap opera. It's like I feel like I'm talking about daytime television. It's like, and then this person, and then this person popped out of nowhere, and then their mama was mad, and it's a mess, man. It's a mess. Why won't my comments keep coming up? Paul Sorvino? David Bobcast think Paul Sorvino could mess Harvey up if he got his hands on him. Paul Sorvino, I love and adore. Paul Sorvino is awesome, and he's doing a play on Broadway right now. So he is in New York, but you know, Paul's getting up there. God bless him, but you know, he doesn't really like standing all that much anymore. If singing could hurt him, he'll sing at him all day long, but I don't think any Italian opera is going to do anything terrible to Harvey Weinstein. So I don't think Paul Sorvino is quite the man for the job, although I do love him dearly. And he makes a great eggplant parmesan. If you don't have Paul Sorvino's cookbook, get it. It's hilarious. And he's amazing. But I don't think so. I don't think Paul Sorvino's the guy, unfortunately. I wish he was. I wish. He's already in New York. He's got that to him. It could be great, but 10 years ago, maybe. Not in 2018. Certainly not in 2019. But we're going to leave Harvey there for now. He got his 25 minutes, which is more than he deserves, attention-wise. So we're going to go to the special announcement portion of No Filter Friday, which is next week on the 26th, is the 50th celebration episode of No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and we're doing it at the Austin Film Festival. Me and my wonderful publicist, Elizabeth, at Terrific PR, are putting together an evening of No Filter Friday on October 26th. And then we have a Facebook invite, which I'll put probably on the Public House Media page. I'll figure out a way to put it into the situation. Or you can just message me. If you're going to be in Austin for the festival for whatever reason on October 26th and you're around at 10:30, come to our event. I'm going to be doing the show live from there. And we have a whiskey sponsor, so there's going to be booze, and then we're going to do a raffle, and there's going to be a photo op where we're giving away like all kinds of fun prizes and stuff because it's a 50th celebration episode. Like it's supposed to be epic. I really want to get balloons. I'm having like an uncontrollable urge to get balloons for this party. So ballooning, we're going to get some balloons. I don't know. I was thinking about maybe getting like the 5-0 balloons like people do for their birthday or something. But we're going to get No Filter Friday balloons regardless. There's going to be candy because it's about to be Halloween. And there's definitely going to be lots of drinking and awesome 50th episode celebrations. I've been doing this show for a year now. How crazy is that? We have been doing this every Friday for a year. How crazy. Come on. Talk about a never-ending Harvey Weinstein saga. A year. We've been doing this for a year, and there is no end in sight. We're gonna keep picking away at it. So that is our special announcement for next week. And then there's I don't think there'll be any more live episodes between now and then, but there's definitely going to be some more bonus podcasts between now and then. Someone said beer. I don't know that there's unless people want to bring beer, you can certainly BYOB to this party, but there's whiskey for now. There's going to be whiskey at this party. Lots of it. So that's what we're doing for that. Whiskey and prizes. That's going to be the overall arcing theme is whiskey, prizes, balloons, plus the show. So it's going to be awesome. The Austin Film Festival is a very special place as far as the Metoo movement goes because before Metoo happened, there was an incident with a guy that was working at the Alamo Drafthouse, and the ladies of the Austin film community got together and effectively gave him the boot and stopped him from doing the despicable things that he was doing long before they had the support of Me Too or a movement or any of that, which is really, really, really awesome. So 1 year, 50th celebration episode from the Austin Film Festival. It's going to be super, super, super cool. So come on down, or if you're not going to be in Austin, send me questions that I can cover during the show. And then if whiskey is rich people crutch, I can't afford it. I've never felt like that, but I mean the whiskey's sponsored, so I don't think you should. Don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. So check out other shows on Public House Media. There's a couple new ones coming in, or there's some old favorites like Choose to Rise, Press Row. There's lots of sports stuff. Press Row, The Cheap Seats, other fun stuff like How to Write Good. This is definitely the darkest, dirtiest show on Public House Media. So if you can hang here, you can definitely go check out some more like fun, uplifting shows on Public House Media. And, subscribe to the podcast, give it a like or a review or a comment or a star, something like that on iTunes or iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, all those, Spotify, all those places. And I will see you next week. And it's going to be awesome because it's going to be a party. So see you later, guys. Bye, 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 bye.